Hello everyone, my name is Jenny, your IELTS tutor. In this video, I'll be sharing a sample answer that I have made for this IELTS speaking part 2 topic. The topic is a live sports match that you have watched. I've also prepared some part 3 sample answers, so please read with me, okay? Do some shadowing. This is the full topic or the complete topic. Describe a live sports match that you have watched. You should say what it was, when you watch it, what it was like, and explain how you felt about it. Okay, so you don't need to answer these bullet points one by one. You don't need to answer them in order. There's no rule in IELTS speaking that you have to answer them in order, okay? So the most important thing is that you speak fluently. So let us begin. Well, when it comes to the live sports matches that I have seen, I think the 2002 World Cup takes the cake. It's one of the biggest sports competitions in the world, and it's held every 4 years. Even if I'm not a sports buff, I still watch that event because it was held in Korea. Fortunately, I got a ticket and I saw that game with my friends. It was actually a match between Japan and Korea. The sports center was packed with people and they were all wearing cheering uniforms. It was an unforgettable experience and I really had a blast because of many reasons. First off, watching a live match was so energizing and fascinating. I love the atmosphere because the audience were all enthusiastic. They were shouting at the top of their lungs, especially when the Korean team got a score. Secondly, it was an intense game because the Japanese team was also competitive. I thought that we would lose the game, but luckily, all players were so skilled. I guess they were so motivated because it was their home court. If it was done in Japan, I guess it will have a different result. Last but not least, it was my first time to watch a live sports event, and I was so over the moon because our team won. Although it happened more than 2 decades ago, I still vividly remember that sports event. Okay, so I've highlighted the words that will be useful for you to increase your score, so takes the cake. This is an idiomatic expression, okay, which means something or someone that's remarkable. For example, among all my favorite actors, I think Brad Pitt takes the cake. So Brad Pitt is the most remarkable one for you. Is your favorite, okay? But instead of saying favorite, that's quite simple. That's a common word. Try to use an idiomatic expression instead. Okay? The other highlighted words are topic-related words. So of course, we're talking about sports. So here, sports competitions, sports buff. A sports buff is a person who likes sports, right? So, packed with people. It just simply means it was crowded. Here, it's full of people. I really had a blast or had a blast. This is an idiomatic expression, which means I had fun. For example, I went to India last month and I had a blast. Yeah, it means I had fun. Instead of saying firstly, you can say first off. These are good adjectives: energizing, fascinating. The audience were all enthusiastic. So they were shouting at the top of their lungs, meaning they were shouting very loudly, right? So this is a good expression as well. It was an intense game. Here. Competitive, motivated. It was their home court, so this is a topic-related word. Instead of saying finally, you can say last but not least. Instead of saying 20 years ago, you can say 2 decades ago. Right? And then this expression. Okay, so I hope that this sample answer will be useful to you. Of course, you can always change the subject. My students are actually Korean, so that's why I use, Korean and, between Korea and Japan. Right? You can change the sports as well. For example, if you're an Indian, like you can say cricket, right? So let us continue. Let's move on to part 3. Do some shadowing. Please read with me. Do you prefer to watch live sports or watch it on TV? I've prepared two sample answers for this question. Well, I prefer to watch live sports on TV simply because it's more convenient and cost efficient. I don't need to go out and it's more comfortable as well. Usually, live sports in sports centers are crowded and noisy. Although it's fun, I prefer to watch sports in a more comfortable place. Right? So, if you prefer to watch sports on TV, you can use this idea. And it consists of good adjectives here: convenient, cost efficient. Right? So, it's crowded and then noisy. Try to acknowledge the other side, the other part. Although it's fun, I prefer to watch sports in a more comfortable place. And then the other sample answer. Actually, these days, I prefer to watch sports events on TV, mainly because I can't freely go outside. Because I'm a busy kind of person, I always have a lot on my plate, so I can't really stay longer outside. However, when I don't have any obligations, I would always watch sports matches live because it's more thrilling and exciting. I can see the match in person. Excuse me. So, this is an idiomatic expression. Yeah, I always have a lot on my plate, meaning if you have a lot on your plate, you have a lot of things to do. Okay? To have many things to do. So this is an idiomatic expression. Okay? And then, yeah, you try to use connectives like however. Using connectives in your answers, is actually very beneficial in increasing your score. Okay? Now, let us continue. Why do some people like to watch live sports? Well, I guess it is because it's more enjoyable and they love the atmosphere of a live match. Aside from that, they can watch their favorite athletes in person. They can also cheer with other fans, and finally, it's a good bonding experience. So here, they love the atmosphere. Instead of saying also, you can say aside from that, right? Athletes, well, you can say sports stars also. And then the second sample answer, well, I think it is primarily because it's more fun and lively. People can watch sports with other fans and they can cheer together for their favorite athletes. I think they can feel the happiness of the crowd too. People feel more cheerful and alive. Also, it's a great bonding experience with families or friends. Let's move on to the next question. What kinds of sports do Korean people like to watch? Well, when it comes to that question, I can say that the majority of Koreans are fond of football, especially when our opponent or competitor is Japanese. Aside from that, baseball, UFC, and figure skating are famous in my country. These sports are really widely known in South Korea. So you don't want to keep on saying famous, you can also say widely known. Right? You can begin your sentence with this. Well, when it comes to that question, instead of saying I think, I believe, it's completely okay to say those words, but if you want to extend, you want to speak longer, you can use this expression. You can open your sentence with this one. All right? Now, let's move on. Do you think competition is good for students? Yeah, I think so. I believe that competition is beneficial for students, and it's mainly because it helps them to develop their skills. They can achieve more things because they will work harder. Although it can be stressful sometimes, I think if they deal with it in a positive way, it can make them stronger individuals. Right? So instead of saying good, you can paraphrase it's beneficial. Right? And what are the reasons why competition is good for students? The first reason that I've stated here is that it can develop their skills. Second reason, they can achieve more things. Right? They will work harder. Although it can be stressful sometimes. Right? If they deal with it in a positive way, it can make them strong. Right? So that's it for today. Thank you so much. And if you have any suggestions, just comment below. All right. Thank you. Bye.